Good morning, everyone. It is my privilege to introduce Lucas Sinon to speak in today's chapel. I've known Lucas since our family first joined the EA community when all the boys started upper school. Lucas quickly became one of my sons Nick and Charlie's good friends, and I knew he was an aspiring lacrosse player as well. Like you guys, they were all goofy freshmen back then. Since then, I've witnessed Lucas's development firsthand over the course of the next 3+ years. As he'll discuss, it certainly has not always been easy, and it still isn't. But to watch Lucas tackle adversity head-on with grace and hard work has been nothing short of inspiring. To see him succeed in the classroom, fight to get back on the field, and to become a leader in so many ways across campus has set such a positive example for us all. And beside all his efforts, the best thing about Lucas is that he's a humble, high-character, likable young man, always with a smile on his face. So as we look forward to Lucas's words today, I will speak for our entire EA community in saying we're excited to see him continue to grow through challenge and funnel all his great potential to do amazing things through the rest of his senior year, in college, and life beyond. It's my pleasure to introduce a wonderful Episcopal young man. Please stand and welcome Lucas Sinon.
Thank you. Please be seated. Hope does not disappoint. And then what? The past 2 years of my life have not been simple. Highlighted by a disastrous divorce which severed bonds, life began to feel like a vortex of unfortunate events. Things that I had been accustomed to had been ripped away from me. I used physical activity and the sport I loved to cope with these events. But due to a grueling injury, that too was taken away from me. I underwent surgery on both my ACL and my meniscus, and as a result, I faced 9 months of extensive rehab. Hearing from my doctor that I was unable to be on the field with some of my closest friends struck me very hard. On top of that, money and housing became serious issues for my mom and me. As a kid who lived a very privileged childhood, these challenges were not familiar. My mom has moved us from our 6-bedroom home to a 3-bedroom townhouse, and now to our 2-bedroom apartment. Trapped in an unfamiliar place with no ability to walk, I felt helpless with little hope. In a way, it felt as though my leg was not the only thing constricting my daily life. Because of the conditions at home, I often felt pessimistic and unable to find the good in any situation. Socially, my circumstances were hard to explain to my peers. However, it was one of my friends who inspired me to write this speech. In dreary winter months, at the start of a lacrosse season I knew I would have to miss, I told some of my teammates everything that had been going on. Some responded with sympathy, others responded with comforting thoughts, but one simply responded with, "And then what?" These 3 words froze me. Over those previous months, I'd only been accustomed to focusing on the negative. I failed to understand how to cope with adversity as a result of my own mental weakness. My mom had changed that for me. A phrase that she would always say to me is, "If you want something done, you need to do it yourself." This phrase did not come across to me as being isolating, but instead one that urges determination. From this moment on, I increased my work ethic in recovering from my injury, as well as my studies. I felt like I was taking an initiative to do good for myself when my surroundings were not doing the same. Along with this, community members pushed me to be my best, such as Dr. Bethany and Coach Bates. Whether it was playing wall ball on one leg or studying anatomy, I was coping with the external misfortunes of my life, and that felt great. Sometimes I get down on myself, but I realized that it was normal to be sad sometimes. See, change is mostly random in life, but it's how we adapt and better ourselves as a result of it. With this being said, it took time to adjust to the fallout of my parents' ongoing divorce. But once I was able to use adversity as motivation, I became a stronger person. A quote from Albert Einstein states, "Adversity introduces a man to himself. and through grit and adversity, I felt like I began to find my true character. I would do my best to not let the challenges ahead of me sway my character, but instead build it. I tell all of you this today because we attend an institution that is very challenging, and it's not abnormal to feel overwhelmed. But jumping over these hurdles is what shapes us for the future. Based on my experiences, students will form different and distinct opinions about fellow peers and teachers. The people and the teachers who I have built relationships with over my time at EA have molded and shaped me into a better man. Whether it was Mr. Capuzzi helping my family, or Dr. Chaikin and Mrs. Aldridge counseling and comforting me, these people went out of their way to help me in a dark time. With the guidance that they have provided me, I was able to remain at EA and focus on my academics. As a result of the craziness of my life at home, I take pride in being excited to come here and use the resources that this place provides me. In recent years, I have spent hours of tedious work in the library and fulfilling time in the gym, and in doing so, I have found solace in these places. Looking at the future ahead, I'm excited for what is to come. I believe that through trials and tribulations, I've become more mature, and I would like to thank my mom for that. As times got worse, my mom never failed to remind me that things would get better. Her attitude is always lined with hope, and because of that, I look up to her. Partnering with the optimistic and hopeful attitude she boasts, she's extremely tough. Starting her day at 4:30 a.m., she juggles a job, her children, exercise, and even finds time to make me 3 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every single day. I started my speech with the quote, "Hope does not disappoint, and then what?" This phrase is the embodiment of her personality. As conflict approaches, it is important to believe and to hope. The additional "and then what" is added as a sense of assessment. If one is calm and determined to find the solution through adversity, it is much more likely that they will succeed. Hence asking the question, "and then what?" Every action has a reaction, and it's up to us to control our own. Be calm, work hard, and lean on the ones closest to you. In silence, let us reflect on what we have just heard.